Hey everybody, it's Tim with the University of Vinyl. Thanks for tuning in again today. It is the first week in October, and I thought I would do a wrap up for the month of September. Um, Quick aside, I'm still with you, vinyl community, 100%. My previous video was a crossover attempt trying to reach over to the bourbon community, and it's like stalling out at 500 views right now. So in my next attempt, I'm going to have to do some kind of a clickbait thumbnail showing some ultimate rare grail bottle of bourbon. I've learned my lesson, but I am very, very happy to be here today, still withstanding and loving this hobby that we're all afflicted with. And I've got a number of used titles I'm going to show you that I've picked up over the last month, primarily in used shops here locally in northern Colorado. And I do have a couple things that I've purchased through the mail. Those are going to be reissues that I thought definitely worthwhile to add to the collection. So thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. About a week after Olivia Newton-John passed away, and I think that was maybe it was in August, I don't know. But in early September, I was in one of my favorite shops here locally and managed to find the Olivia Newton-John physical album. This was the special audiophile MCA pressing. Also happens to be a gold stamp promo. This thing sounds amazing. I had a huge crush on Olivia Newton-John during that whole Grease period. And I don't recall if she came out with this album after Grease or not, but what was the song? Make a Move on Me. Love that song. Really good, late 70s, early 80s pop music, and elements of some synthesizers in there, some keyboards, but just good overall pop music. Olivia Newton-John had kind of shed her, her wholesome country rock image, and if you don't have any Olivia Newton-John, check out Physical. They're pretty easy to find. I had never seen this pressing in the wild. This reminds me that there is an MCA audiophile edition of Gaucho that I would love to find. I think I have a tracker on it on Discogs, but it seems to be pretty pricey. But anyway, this was a gatefold package. There's Olivia, riding a dolphin, as you do. And I don't know, really happy to have this. 1981 was the release year for physical Olivia Newton-John. Kind of from the same time period. Found this album in near mint condition. Have been kind of, it's been on my hit list. And Flesh and Blood, 1980, Roxy Music. This is a fantastic album. Master disc in the dead wax with that Love to See RL for Robert Ludwig. So mastered by Robert Ludwig. It sounds fantastic. Brian Ferry at his best with his two main kind of compatriots, Phil Manzanera on guitar and Andy McKay on sax. I don't think the original drummer was still there. No, they were using several different drummers on this. Andy Newmark is one of the drummers. Fantastic album. This thing rivals what would come next, which was everyone raves about, Avalon. This thing sounds just as good. Okay, there's a couple cover songs on here, but they're really, really well done. In the Midnight Hour. and then 8 Miles High, the Birds cover. What else can I say about this? There's Over You was a radio hit, written by Ferry and Manzanera. Oh Yeah, and the title track. Also I've been kind of seeing trending a lot of people doing live streams talking about, it's, how impossible it is to find a near mint record out in the wild. I mean, check this out. This is Full of Luster. There's a light I'm looking for. This thing is near mint. It was all of $12. Gorgeous, kind of a custom label there on Atco. Again, master disc, Robert Ludwig. That's what you want to find. An early U.S. pressing. It's just an amazing, great sounding record. Anyway, back to the rant. I find it very easy to find near mint used records in the wild. You have to keep your frequency up, so you need to hit these places weekly. Where have you heard that before? And you just don't know what you're going to find. So last week, I was in another shop that I frequent. I try to go there weekly. Sometimes it might lapse. It might be every couple weeks. And lo and behold, a near mint example of a rare record released in 1990. Who the hell were the Hindu love gods? Well, it was 3/4 of REM, and the lead singer replacing Michael Stipe was none other than Warren Zevon. There are some fun kind of session photos on the back. Now, the story with this album is it's basically a bunch of blues covers. Manish Boy is on here, Crosscut Saw, but two important covers. Battleship Chains from, it was a recent radio hit with Georgia Satellites, and just kind of a fun romp that these guys went through. And then a rocked up version of Prince's Raspberry Beret, the hit from, 1985, 1986, from Around the World in a Day. This is a fun record. It sounds absolutely amazing as well. Near mint condition. This was released on the Giant label, which was a new label in 1990, started by Irving Azoff, who used to be Warren's manager. His new manager at the time went to Irving looking for a new record deal because Warren had been dropped by Virgin after Transverse City. The previous album was Sentimental Hygiene, and he basically recruited Peter Buck, Mike Mills, and Bill Berry on drums to be his backup band for that really good album, Sentimental Hygiene, that was released in 1987. So here we are, fast forward to 1990. Now let's go back to 1987. The guys finished Sentimental Hygiene, and they had an extra day of studio time left over. And rather than waste it, Warren did not, but the rumor is that there had been some afternoon drinking, and they went into the studio to kind of use up that extra time that they had and cut a bunch of blues covers along with the two covers I just mentioned. And who knew if it was ever supposed to see the light of day? REM was definitely kind of surprised when it came out in 1990 with kind of minimal artwork. Zevon wasn't involved either in any of these decisions, but his manager managed to secure a deal with Irving Azoff and his new Giant label. And the bonus was, hey, I've got this in the can with REM. REM was definitely on the rise at that particular time. after Out of Time in, what was it, 1989, they were huge. So, Irving, knowing Warren Zevon, kind of a known commodity, and knew what he was getting into, decided to sign Warren, and they put out, as the first offering, as part of that contract, Hindu Love Gods, cut in a late afternoon evening session. And this thing is very, very hard to find. It goes for $50, $60, $75 on Discogs, and got really, really lucky and just kind of found this at a local shop last week. I've got another favorite new shop in Fort Collins, Colorado. That is a shop called Driver 8 Records. The owner had a long stint in Athens, Georgia, hence the title, Driver 8. If you know, you know. I'm sure you can make the connection there. I was pleased to find Big Star's second album, Radio City. This is the craft reissue. I have their other reissue for Number One Record, which is just fantastic. The same guy who did the mastering on Number One Record did the mastering on Radio City, Jeff Powell. Really, really, really fine job. 180 gram record, custom label. This is just fantastic. This was pressed at Memphis Record Pressing, and this hired. The music is absolutely fantastic. This was originally released in 1973. Next up is a Discogs splurge that I had to make. I had been tracking this album for over 2 years. Have never seen a copy in the wild. It's from one of my favorite Neil Young and Crazy Horse periods, which comes, with along with Ragged Glory in 1991, on through the collaboration he did with Pearl Jam. 1996 brought Broken Arrow. This is an amazing album. Check out, I featured this on a recent video and went way, way, way in depth on it. But very, very, very difficult to find. I finally found a decent price. I actually think I made an offer on it. The buyer accepted it. And a definite grail for me, that is Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Broken Arrow. A kind of a vibey, great groove. If you know Crazy Horse, it's the best of Crazy Horse. Neil is in fine form, and really happy to kind of add that to the collection. I always loved the Paul Simon hit Slip Sliding Away, and was always puzzled, before I really knew a lot about Paul Simon's discography. I would look through these albums and where the hell is Slip Sliding Away? And, eventually discovered, it was a bonus track on the 1977 collection, Greatest Hits. It leads off side one, and it's a sultry, seductive, moody song. Just sounds great. Paul Simon is in fine form as usual, and all of these, this is a really nice package to have. It's a 2-record set, but everything that you would expect in the year 1977 would be on there from the entire Paul Simon solo catalog at that particular point. Gatefold, and you get all the lyrics and a dapper looking Paul Simon on the back. Another near mint rare album that I never see in the wild. I have seen the recent reissues, and if I can get a first or a second pressing, that would be my preference on most of any title that we can talk about. But back to Driver 8 Records in Fort Collins. This Kinks second pressing Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round. Absolutely amazing album. Another gatefold package. This was, of course, on the Reprise Steamship label. Really, really fine sounding recording. Super pleased to find this near mint condition again, folks. Same shop, similar result. I currently don't have, or didn't have, I didn't have any reggae records in my collection, and I just watched a video from who was it? The Metal Theologian. He did a pretty cool deep dive on roots reggae and the artist that kind of started reggae. He didn't talk about Bob Marley at all, but I found a first pressing, distributed, of course, by Tough Gong, and this was on the Island label, 1974, Natty Dread, with that incredible lead-off song, Lively Up Yourself. Let's take a look at the inner sleeve. There is the original inner. The record is near mint condition. Picked it up for, I think, $22. I'm considering that a great bargain. And awesome music when you're in the mood. I definitely wasn't going to pass up what is probably the Blue Note Tone Poet title of the year. That is Coltrane's Blue Train. If you watch any videos on in the vinyl community, I'm sure you've seen this discussed. Fantastic gatefold package, mastered by Kevin Gray, kind of produced by Joe Harley. This is an amazing Coltrane record. Probably, I don't know Coltrane in depth, but I have heard a few different titles. This is definitely my favorite. I went for the mono version. I'm really happy with that. I didn't need the extra record, and I have seen. I saw a recent interview with Kevin Gray saying he prefers the mono cut, but I've also seen a lot of people saying they prefer the stereo cut. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one, but I am super pleased with this mono cut of a Blue Train. Two other albums to talk about. There was a recent auction with the Vinyl Archivist, and the Waxed was there, and Michael from Poetry on Plastic as well. If you didn't know, the Vinyl Archivist will do an online record auction. It's a live stream. It's a lot of fun. These things can run 3 or 4 hours. Anyway, I missed out on something that I had bid on with Rob, the Waxed, and we got to talking, and he had told me about an REM title that is definitely, it was on my hit list. That is the 2004 album, Around the Sun, and this is actually a misprint cover, so kind of a more rare title. Of course, it was a promo copy. Rob's got an acquaintance, good friend of his, who actually works for in the music industry, and he has been slowly but surely kind of purging some things that he had in his collection, using Rob to sell those things off. So we reached a really good deal, and this was an interesting period for REM. This was the second album that would come after Up, and the second album without Bill Berry after Bill Berry had left. At this point in time, they had kind of an expanded lineup with Scott McCoy on keyboards and guitar, as well as the guy from the Posies was helping out as well. His name is escaping me right now. And taking over on drums was Bill Rieflin. He did drumming with Ministry and REM for several years, all the way up until they decided to kind of pack it in, I think, in 2011. And we recently lost Bill Rieflin 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was a sudden heart attack, so R.I.P. Rieflin. This had a lot of great songs on it. Leaving New York, Electron Blue. What is the? I Wanted to Be Wrong. Make It All Okay. A little bit ballad heavy. You know, this really kind of has echoes of Automatic for the People on it. That's the kind of comparison I'm going to make. And there were some kind of new sounds and effects that were kind of holdovers from the Up album, you know, a little Beach Boy-esque as well. But a great kind of underrated REM album. Thanks, Waxed, and happy to get this. Last but not least, I occasionally will step inside my local Barnes and Noble if I want to take a look at things, at new reissues, etc., and not have to maybe pay shipping. I will do that occasionally, and I just kind of made a spur of the moment purchase for, this is the double LP remastered George Michael classic, Older, originally released in 1996. This was the third George Michael album at that point in time. Really nice package by Sony. And I am really pleased with the sound of this thing. This is spread across two 180 gram records. Have a really long kind of a personal connection to this album. I used to work in Europe and would hear this a lot in the late 1990s into the early 2000s. A classic George Michael album, probably the best thing that he ever did. You know, the guy's voice is legendary. It's epic, along with the groove that he had, and throw in a little bit of funk, a little bit of blue-eyed soul. You know, kind of a mashup of George's voice and persona, kind of a mashup of Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, and with a little bit of Stevie Wonder thrown in as well. What an amazing talent. Gone way too soon. R.I.P. George Michael. This is a fantastic reissue. If you're considering getting it, I don't have anything bad to say about it. Sounds amazing. That's my wrap up for the month of September. Who knows what October will bring. There is a record show here locally in Denver this coming weekend, and I'm on the fence about it. I haven't decided if I'm going to go to that one yet or not. My budget as far as purchasing vinyl records so far this year is through the roof. Well, I never really set a budget, and I never really do, but I have a lot of stuff piling up. I need to do more listening and enjoying, you know, the music that I have. So I'm gonna try not and go to that record show this weekend. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon. Take care.